Hi there. My name's Dr. Alex Swenson-Ridley. I am a women's integrative medicine practitioner and health coach. And this is a recap of the webinar that I normally do on the 3 steps to healing your thyroid without using medication. And I know it can be hard for us to find time to commit to show up for, an hour-long webinar or whatnot. So I wanted to give you just a brief, we're going to try to do this in about 5 to 6 minutes, recap of what it is that I talk about so you still can get the information and, just have this as another piece of the pie or tool that you have in your tool belt of what you're trying to do with your own health and healing. And, to really just share what this is all about, I actually want to share a story with you. And so, this is actually my story and how I got into doing the work that I do with women now. And about 4 years ago, I was driving home from work one day, as we all used to do pre-COVID, before we all went on lockdown. And my son was then 3 years old, and so he's babbling away in the back seat, as I'm sure many of us who are working moms have experienced when we pick our kids up. They're just like, nah, 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 nah. And we stopped at a stoplight, and I turned around to say something to him, and I realized my voice was completely gone. Like it came out as a hoarse whisper. And this had been something that had been happening more and more to me over the few months, but this is the first time where it really thing clicked that something's wrong here, and I shouldn't be losing my voice at the end of every day. And as I kept thinking about it on the way home that evening, and I realized, my energy was just shot. I was a single mom. I had a business. I'd gone through a divorce the year before. I, had come out of a really rough marriage where my ex-husband was an alcoholic and just really negative and emotionally abusive. And I just kind of kept going and doing the things that I needed to do because I knew that for my son, I had to keep going and keep showing up. But I realized in that moment that I wasn't succeeding in the way that I wanted to. I'd been putting on weight. I didn't know how to get it off. I was exhausted all the time. We never played. We never did anything fun. It was all I could do to get home and make dinner and like die on the couch, essentially, fall asleep. And I also realized that I wasn't okay with that because I also wasn't, at that time I was a practicing chiropractor, and I wasn't able to, be there for my patients and show up in the way I knew I needed to, or adjust on the level that I used to. And I knew I had to do something differently. And I also knew that I had an issue with my thyroid because the voice is, one of the symptoms. My hair was also not growing, it was thinning. I didn't have these luscious locks that I do today. And I was putting on weight. I was always cold. I, couldn't regulate my body temperature. I was just horribly tired. And all the things I needed to do weren't working. But I also knew that I didn't want to go down the road that so many of us go down as women with a thyroid problem. It's 1 in 8 of us will develop a thyroid condition at some point in our life. And what that means in today's medical society is, hey, you're going to be on Synthroid or levothyroxine for the rest of your life. Like those are the 2 options. And I knew that I wasn't willing to go down that route and that there was another way, because I had long since become a believer in, that our bodies actually have the power to heal themselves when given the right tools and the things that they actually need to do that. And so what I did and chose for the journey for myself was I launched onto a whole process that involved me learning a whole bunch about women's health, about hormones, even more than I had already known about nutrition and essential oils and a whole bunch of other things. I looked at 3 more certifications after my name. And ultimately, I got myself to a place where my energy was up again and I was feeling good and we were playing, and I even got back in the dating game. And, today I'm very happily remarried and I have 4 boys now instead of just 1. I have 3 stepsons, and I'm able to, my thyroid's not an issue. I feel good. I'm, able to exercise when I choose to and lose weight, and I don't lose my voice when I've been talking for a while anymore. And I now get to share with and teach other women how to do the same thing. And so that's really, what got me into this process where I show up and share information on these webinars, or there's a lot of different ways that I teach, and I have a podcast and all of the stuff that I do. But the ultimate goal, what really drives it is that I truly believe that we as women all have potential and a power underneath us. And especially in our health, we tend to lose that. And there's conditions that we tend to deal with specifically as women, whether it's hormone imbalance or your thyroid being off, or, gut health issues, or where we get chronic disease, autoimmune conditions. There's all of these things. It doesn't just have to be the thyroid that really take our power away and keep us stuck and not able to move forward, not able to be the women that we were put here on earth to be. If you're wondering, yes, I am a feminist. And so what this really gets down to is those 3 steps that I talk about, in terms of healing our thyroid naturally. We'll talk about those right now, because the first one is that, that strong belief that I've always had that our body is capable of healing itself. We have to move away from a broken Western medicine model. Whenever I ask this question, and I always do, do you believe we have a health care crisis in our country? Everyone always raises their hand. When we're live, everyone's raising their hand. Online, everybody's raising their hand. We have to really, but it only goes so far, because you can say that. We can say, we're sedentary, we don't exercise enough, our insurance doesn't pay for XYZ. But to truly get to the point where you actually believe that your body is capable of something, that's the first step. You have to really be willing to take a different holistic approach that isn't necessarily part of the mainstream, because Western medicine says you have this symptom, take this pill. And that's what our insurance covers sometimes. And that's, what we expect to go in and get this quick fix and have it just take care of our symptoms. But when you think about it, it's really not dealing with the root cause. And so we really have to get to the root cause. That's step number 2 in this process. And in doing that, what I really identified and what I found in like 99% of the women that I work with is when we have a thyroid issue, and I've listed a bunch of the symptoms in my own story, but when we have something wrong with our thyroid, like we'll call it 95% of the time, it's actually not a thyroid issue at all. And generally what I have found through testing that I do and through, unpacking of life and all of the things that I do with the women I work with, there's actually an underlying stress going on in the body that is leading to a thyroid disorder, because cortisol, which is the stress hormone, disrupts thyroid function. And so you have your thyroid, which is supposed to be producing T3 and T4. And then actually it's a thyroid stimulating hormone, which is telling different parts of your body to do this. So this is the other piece of this that we have to understand. So we have stress. We all have some level of stress. This year it's been even more than ever. But stress is messing with all of those hormones and all of those cycles in our body. And then TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, is actually telling your liver to produce something. So TSH, your thyroid will produce more. It's like 90% T4 and only about it's 93 and 70 or 7% T3. And the rest of the T3 is actually made in your liver. And so T4 goes to, this is getting complicated normally, I have a diagram, but T4 goes to the liver and about 60% of that is converted to T3 there. And so there's different parts of your thyroid that we need to be aware of and be testing. And what that actually also means is for your liver to be functioning well, your gut health needs to be on and your gut needs to be functioning. And how you know if your liver's functioning well is if you're having enough bowel movements per day. You should be having 2 to 3 normal bowel movements per day. And that means your liver's functioning, it's able to drain, it's able to do what it's supposed to do. The majority of our population has a problem with liver issues where, we have high insulin resistance. So our liver's not functioning like it's supposed to. We're dealing with constipation, or our loose, stools are loose, we're not absorbing the things we need to, we're not producing T3. And when you back all of that up, what they're saying is, okay, have we looked at stress? In my own case, all of that was stress related. Being a business owner, going through divorce, all of those things contributed to me developing a thyroid issue. And it wasn't until I addressed all of those things that I was really able to actually recover from that and no longer have the symptoms that come with, oh, you have a thyroid problem, right? And so for all of you, this is about, really getting to where you're looking at the whole picture. So how do we back that up, and how do we look at all of those pieces of the pie? The third step in actually healing your thyroid naturally, we talked about belief, mindset, moving into that holistic approach where we're getting to the root cause. We're getting away from, well, my insurance pay for this, or from, take this pill and it'll deal with your symptom, but it won't actually do anything. And then we're looking at what's happened in your life up to this point that has led to you developing a symptom, and what's it really related to, because there's a lot of other factors beyond just your thyroid's not doing what it's supposed to. Is it at the thyroid level? Is it actually at the pituitary level, which is part of what releases that whole chain and makes it happen? And then the third step is having a framework and really having a process to help you heal and heal on all of those levels. And so this is really where I come in and what I do. I come in as a partner for women to really actually heal and provide that framework, because I spent 4 or 5 years trying to figure all this out, right? And going through the trials and errors and taking all the classes and doing all the stuff. And not everybody wants to do that. So I provide some knowledge to help you really understand your body and what it is that it needs in order to heal and get your thyroid functioning normally. But my larger role is, coming in as a partner and a coach to really help you figure out what you need and find your motivation and find, dig down deep into what is it that's holding you back. Because I get a lot of women, and I'm going to assert that there are several of you watching this right now who, you feel like you've tried everything. You've tried the diet, you've tried the exercise, you've tried the cleanse, you've been to this doctor or that doctor, and you've taken this medication or that medication, or maybe you've even used essential oils to support your body in a different way, but none of it has been at the same time, and none of it works. And so we really have to, identify what the real cause is, deal with that cause, and give you the tools that you really need in order to be able to heal from that. And so, together, those are the 3 steps that really come into healing your thyroid naturally without using medication and just masking the symptoms. And what I find, it hasn't just been my own journey. I've watched other women go through this process and come out having an insane amount of energy. And to the point where they text me and they're like, Dr. Alex, I have so much energy and it's only 4 o'clock on a Friday. What am I supposed to do with myself? Can you imagine what that would feel like? Or, dropping 4 pant sizes. I'm not about weight loss, but I like to say, what is it about? We all have that pair of pants, right? Or that shirt that we've been hanging on to that we're hoping that someday we might get back to, like, the person who could wear that. I know you know what I'm talking about. But you have to look at, is it just about, I had one of my clients say to me one time, she was like, Dr. Alex, is it shallow of me that I want to get back in my skinny jeans? And at the time I didn't have a really good answer for her, but, as I was thinking about it and preparing for this webinar this week, my answer for her was more, it's not about getting into the skinny jeans, right? I think for all of us, there's something deeper in there. It's about what is available to us when we get in those skinny jeans, like who we get to be for our families and for our kids and in our job and for the people that we love and serve and the things that we get to do. So, you want to think about what is your why? What is the thing that's like pulling you and wanting you to take this on and do something different and not follow the status quo? Because if you signed up for this webinar, you're one of those people that don't want to follow the status quo. So with all that, this is a longer recap than I was planning on. I apologize for that, but we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Where do you go from here, right? That's essentially what we're talking about is, we have a new approach, a new way of looking at the world. It might be new to you. You may have been on this journey for a while, but regardless, something brought you here and you're wanting to get somewhere outside of this, right? So the next step in that, and what I would like to invite you to do, is in the email that this video came with, there's a link to schedule a call. And this initial call is actually with my team, and they will just talk through with you, what you're dealing with, what your challenges are, how you've approached it in the past, and what you really feel like you're missing and what you want your health for, right? So we're going to identify those things with you on the phone and just talk about you as the individual. And then if her name is Charm, if, she feels like you're a good fit for what I do, and she'll explain more of what that actually is and, share more of what it is that I actually do, so you can decide if that's a good fit for you as well, then she'll talk with you about setting up an initial hour-long consultation with me. And so normally that consultation is $287 when you've invested 15 minutes of your time and, watch this video and just have an understanding of where I'm coming from and, shown, like, this shows me that you're committed to doing something different with your life, right? And what I do doesn't work if you're not committed and ready to do something differently with your health and with your life overall. We're very much about changing the status quo and helping you actually heal through that process, which is very possible. But if that is you and you are committed, then, you've shown me that by doing this, by signing up for that call and all that. So I take $200 off of that first visit. So it's $87. We spend an hour together. We really dive into all the, what's gotten you to this point, what you're dealing with. But I really like to focus on where do you want to go and how are we going to get you there? And so that is largely, what we will focus on in that visit, and really talk about what's going to be the process and how will the framework really apply to you. So that link is in that email that you got this video with. And I just want to, leave you with one more story that has to do a little bit with me, but more with, the bigger mission and purpose that I'm so excited to be a part of. Before I went to chiropractic school, my initial hat that I've worn has been as a chiropractor, and I've since become an integrative medicine doctor, alternative medicine practitioner, because I found that there was something missing for me in chiropractic. But before I did all that, I actually worked in the chiropractic office. I was the front desk receptionist. I didn't do a great job of it at it. And I was 22, 23. And my plan was to go to school, but there was this one patient who came in, and she literally changed the trajectory of why I wanted to do what I do completely. Her name was Deborah, and she initially came in, and she was one of those women that, don't really stand out, like kind of mousy. She wore really bland, neutral colors. Her hair was just kind of flat. She didn't wear any makeup or anything. And she just looked really unhappy. She was tired. She was kind of mean, to be honest. But came in, she started getting chiropractic care in our office. And what we do has nothing to do with chiropractic, but I share the story just because of the change that happened, right? And there's lots of different things that can trigger a change in someone, and we all have to find what that is. And so, my job is to help women with that, right? So she came in one day, and she was wearing this red silk blouse, like red, like this color, red, like I'm wearing. And, and she had makeup on. She had red lipstick to match. Her hair was all done up. And like, she just looked amazing. And she greeted me with this big smile. Like, I didn't even think she liked me. And she just had this big smile on her face. And I was like, Deborah, what happened? Like, in a good way. And she looked at me, and she was just like, I've been so inspired being here and being around you guys that I decided to interview for my dream job, and I got it. And like, I feel amazing. And, my headaches are gone. I think she was coming in for headaches was originally her thing. She was like, I feel amazing. My headaches are gone, and I got this job, and I'm just like so excited about life and loving life. And I was like, that is so awesome. And that is what I want to do with my life. And I've been really honored and blessed to be in the position to watch lots of women like Deborah, turn their life into something where they have that smile and that fire and that vibrance. And no matter what the health challenges or the thing that they're dealing with, the tough relationship, the stress, all of those things lead to symptoms down the road. There's, other stories I can share around that, but I won't, because I want to wrap this up in less than 20 minutes. All of that is available to you if you're willing to take the step and try something new and do something different. So my invitation to you is to go ahead, book that call with Charm. She will guide you through and have you share your story and share more of what we do. And if it's a good fit, we are going to get on a Zoom call or an in-person appointment if you're in Fairbanks, Alaska. But, we will connect together and really figure out how we're going to get you from wherever you are right now to that, like, fully on fire, super excited, smiling Deborah, all in loving life experience. That's what I want for you. That's what we're here to help you do. And I hope this serves you and leaves you with I'm really excited right now, if you can't tell, leaves you with some inspiration and excitement and joy. I look forward to getting to know you, to meeting you, to connecting with you on a call, and we will talk to you soon.